Welcome back to our channel. Kat had always been admired inside the gates, her beauty and grace a mask that concealed layers of calculation. She knew that Anita had long viewed her as both rival and threat, the younger woman who carried the potential to fracture the foundation Anita spent decades building. When Naomi quietly reached out, whispering of her own disdain for Anita's suffocating control, Kat sensed an opportunity. For years Naomi's elegance had been seen as harmless, but beneath the surface lay sharp edges no one fully recognized. The first moments of their alliance were born in silence, forged through shared glances and the faintest nods at gatherings where Anita reigned. Together they orchestrated subtle moves to weaken Anita's grasp. Bank accounts that had always balanced with perfect precision suddenly showed inexplicable discrepancies. Philanthropic projects Anita cherished began to crumble under anonymous sabotage. Invitations to exclusive events arrived late or not at all, a calculated humiliation. Anita felt the ground shift, though she could not yet trace the tremors to Kat and Naomi. As weeks unfolded, their partnership flourished. Kat admired Naomi's ability to plant seeds of doubt in others, always stepping back before anyone suspected her hand. Naomi, in turn, appreciated Kat's daring, her willingness to push boundaries, to destabilize Anita with bold strokes rather than whispers. Together they became a force. The Dupree home, once governed by Anita's iron presence, now vibrated with unseen cracks. Vernon began questioning his wife's decisions. Danny grew distant, her loyalties confused. Even Leslie, long Anita's ally, seemed uncertain. But alliances in families such as theirs were fragile, built not on trust but on convenience. Naomi, ever restless, began studying Kat more closely. She lingered on details, watched the way Kat's eyes avoided certain topics. She sensed a hidden current beneath Kat's polished composure. One evening, as a storm rattled the windows of the estate, Naomi hinted at what she suspected. Her words were vague, a knife wrapped in velvet, but their effect was clear. Naomi believed Kat had blood on her hands. The mention was enough to unnerve Kat. For years she had buried the memory of that night, the sudden death of a family member whose name was spoken in hushed tones. The official story had been tragic accident, an unfortunate fall that no one could have prevented. But Kat remembered the chaos, the heated argument, the flash of anger that had led to the unthinkable. She had thought the secret gone with the body, swallowed by grief and time. Yet Naomi's eyes, glinting with dangerous certainty, told her otherwise. From that moment, the alliance shifted. Naomi began to hold power not only against Anita but against Kat. She no longer whispered plans in confidence. She insinuated, manipulated, dangled fragments of Kat's secret like bait over a pit. Kat's nights grew restless. Every phone call, every unexpected knock on the door filled her with dread. She began to suspect Naomi of leaving subtle messages, an unmarked photograph, a newspaper clipping of the accident, even a withered flower left on her pillow. Meanwhile, Anita sensed change. Though weakened by their schemes, she noticed the strange energy between Kat and Naomi. The tension that once united them against her now seemed to consume them from within. Anita, shrewd as ever, realized she no longer needed to fight directly, she only needed to watch as her enemies destroyed one another. The Dupree mansion became a battlefield of shadows. At dinners, eyes darted like blades. Naomi leaned close to Kat with casual remarks that concealed threats. Kat forced smiles while her hands trembled beneath the table. Anita, seated at the head, savored the spectacle, her silence louder than any accusation. Kat attempted to regain control. She buried herself in charity work, polished her public image, and surrounded herself with admirers. But Naomi was relentless. She approached Vernon with questions about the past, carefully disguised as innocent curiosity. She reminded Danny of inconsistencies in the family's history. Slowly, Naomi threaded suspicion into the minds of those around Kat, never enough to expose, but enough to corrode. The strain began to fracture Kat's facade. She lashed out at staff, snapped at allies, withdrew from gatherings. Her beauty remained, but the calm elegance for which she was known began to falter. Naomi, watching with quiet satisfaction, intensified her game. She began suggesting to Anita that Kat might not be as loyal as she appeared. Anita, though cautious, allowed the idea to blossom. The turning point came during a lavish gala hosted within the community gates. All the prominent families attended, their laughter echoing beneath chandeliers. Kat, resplendent in silver, tried to reclaim the narrative, to prove herself unshaken. Naomi, however, maneuvered the night with surgical precision. She ensured that whispers circulated, that glances lingered too long on Kat. And when the evening reached its peak, Naomi produced a single piece of evidence, a fragment from that long-ago night of death, presented not directly, but through a carefully staged discovery by a guest. The revelation was small, almost inconclusive, yet devastating. Murmurs spread like wildfire. Kat felt the weight of suspicion settle on her shoulders. Her breath caught, her vision blurred, but she could not falter in public. She smiled, she danced, she performed. Yet inside, panic clawed at her chest. In the days that followed, the fallout was relentless. Vernon avoided Kat's gaze. Danny asked quiet questions. Anita, triumphant, allowed herself small gestures of satisfaction. Naomi, however, did not stop. She pressed harder, demanding Kat's loyalty, threatening to unleash more. Kat, cornered, began to unravel. She sought allies but found only shadows. Those who once admired her now hesitated, their faith eroded by Naomi's carefully orchestrated campaign. Desperation pushed Kat into reckless choices. She attempted to frame Naomi for financial misconduct, but Naomi anticipated it, turning the attempt into further proof of Kat's instability. Kat tried to reconcile with Anita, but Anita dismissed her coldly, enjoying the taste of victory. Alone, Kat began to contemplate darker measures. Naomi, intoxicated by her own power, underestimated the depth of Kat's fear. She believed Kat too fragile, too dependent on her reputation, to ever strike back. But fear can transform into something lethal. Late one night, Kat stood over Naomi's sleeping form, a vial of poison trembling in her hand. She did not act, not then, but the thought marked the point of no return. From that moment, the story of the Dupree family descended into chaos. Accusations flew, alliances shifted, and the gates that once protected them now felt like prison walls. Anita, though regaining her dominance, found herself trapped in a house poisoned by secrets. Naomi, drunk on control, pressed further, blind to the danger she invited. And Kat, cornered by enemies and haunted by guilt, prepared to embrace the darkness she had long denied. The truth of the past, the death that should have remained buried, loomed closer with each passing day. Naomi's obsession with exposure, Anita's hunger for power, and Kat's desperate need to survive collided in a storm none could escape. By the time the final pieces fell into place, the Dupree legacy was forever altered. Trust had rotted, love had twisted, and ambition had consumed them all. The gates that once symbolized wealth and security now stood as monuments to betrayal and ruin. And in the center of it all, Kat and Naomi remained locked in a deadly dance, each holding the other's fate, each prepared to destroy not only their rival, but themselves. Because in the world beyond the gates, survival was never about truth or justice. It was about who could carry the heaviest secret without breaking and who could weaponize the shadows before the shadows consumed them. Please subscribe and ring the bell to follow our channel to stay updated on the shocking and dramatic developments of the ongoing drama.